The show is called Re-Monster and it's a crazy anime, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Tomoki Kanata has been reincarnated in the weakest goblin, named Goburu, after having undergone an unfortunate death. However, Goburu has retained his previous life's memories, an unusual evolution, as well as becoming strong enough to gain status boosts from eating. Eyes devoid of all emotion and color stares blankly at the sky. A blood-curdling swelsh sound can be heard repeatedly. A woman is heavily breathes, her breath rapidly increases, and she appears to be repeatedly stabbing a man. The woman does her crime in the alleyway of a convenience store in a modern city. All be heard is her breathing, and all that can be seen is the blood mixing in with the surrounding landscape. The woman huffs out the man's name, Tomoki Kanata, sparking her blade for a finishing attack, crying out his name like a yandere. Day 1 of his new life starts with an old goblin-looking man asking for him to open his eyes. Naming him Goburu, making Tomoki a little irritated, the old man couldn't put more effort into his new name. The old man shuffles a larva bug into the young goblin's mouth. The next day he wakes up alongside ugly green babies that are now his new family. He recognizes that he looks similar to them, confirming that he did indeed die and he's been reborn. The little goblin is too weak to lift his head off the ground. Goburu cries for the rest of the night. On day 3, his body rapidly grew a lot bigger, showing the importance of a good night's sleep. Goburu gets over his former life as he's happy for the second chance. With his body strong enough to defend himself, with his added larger intelligence making him able to speak. Unlike the goblin children who can only follow. On day 4, the children's only caretaker provides them with larva worms, proclaiming it to be their final meal from the old man. As of today, he must be considered an adult and get his own food. Goburu and some others eat their gross meal with vigor, so he would have energy. He goes outside for the first time. In the sky, he notices that only the birds that fly above look any different than his old world. Goburu is the first to leave the cave. He's unable to recognize the plants. Behind him, a goblin kid named Gobkichi is the second to leave home, who also finds the outside world strange. Goburu teams up with the bigger boy so they could easily hunt. They manage to spot and corner a horned rabbit, killing it with a stick. Gobkichi hovers around the game prepared to eat it but is soon punished by Goburu, teaching the boy the value of sharing. The reborn goblin begins to harvest the body of the rabbit. His brain activates like a computer program as he's obtained a horn. Gobkichi wakes up hungry, thanking the older goblin repeatedly for the food. Goburu is freaked out, asking that he either eat or cry. The two work as a team using the same strategy to catch another rabbit. This time Goburu upgrades to medium level, earning the skill escape. Tomoki remembers his past life where violence was common, with the man on a stack of unresponsive corpses. In his old world he gained a skill named absorption, having the ability since birth. He could gain the traits of whatever he ate, any material. Unfortunately, he wasn't born with this ability here, so he has to start over. By day 6, the two reveal to one of the female goblins about the meat they hunt and eat. Named Gobmi, Goburu doesn't find it impressive to be eating a horn rabbit. But the girl tells them about how one of their siblings died from a horn rabbit. Gobmi comes closer, calling Goburu amazing, being smart, cool, and strong enough to provide. Developing a crush, but the boy isn't interested in goblins. Still, he decides to invite the girl to hunt with them tomorrow, which makes the girl tackle him, agreeing to tag along. When day 7 arrived, it sadly rained, making him postpone their hunt with Gobmi until the next day. Goburu wanders around their cave to see if they have a storage unit so he can create weapons. He finds a door at the end of the hallway. Inside he finds a rare metal, shocking him. He takes it along with rocks and horns to craft his new weapon. In the room he also found live human woman. It didn't take long for him to realize how he was created. The old man Gobji walks up to the motivated man. The goblin is impressed by his progress. Believing that he'll level up faster than expecting, Gobji then instructs Goburu on how to check his level. Goburu begins to touch his temple while swiping the air like he was told. He's able to see that the old timer is level 86. The older goblin tells him that he'll be able to evolve when he reaches level 100, being considered an advanced life form. Gobji laughs the comment off as only 1 out of a dozen goblins actually manages to achieve this. Apparently the old timer is actually in his 20s, but because he's a goblin their bodies age quickly. He informs him as a parting gift that the youngsters will be returning from town soon, and that he'll be able to see what an evolved hobgoblin looks like, as their group will bring back prey, laughing evilly to himself. On day 8 he takes Gobmi hunting, Wither managing to use a slingshot to defeat red vipers. Goburu is able to form his new team, with himself in the middle to perfectly control a fight. Gobmi in the back to throw projectiles, and lastly Gobkichi being their tank in the front. The group skins their prey and begins to eat the raw meat. Gobkichi calls the food delicious while Gobmi can only cry as she's only eaten bugs all her life. On his next bite, Gobru gains another skill, called thermography, with a tree of skills like venom, venom resistance, search, and evil eye. On day 9 and 10, the group prepared their gear and did their usual hunting routine. On day 11 on their hunt, they made a mistake and attracted the attention of a cave of monster bats. The group runs in fear, but eventually Gobru is able to use his evil eye ability to slow down their movements. This creates the opportunity needed to defeat the entire cave. He receives the skill echolocation, vamp up, vamphilia. In the bushes, their siblings can only help and watch their older siblings eating a luxury dinner while their stomach growls. On the night of day 12, while most are asleep, a couple of jealous and hungry siblings surround Gobru. Lucky for Gobru, he keeps his search skill active at all times. He wakes up with a horn underneath his sheets. He's able to easily overpower his attackers, accidentally killing one of the weaker ones because he didn't adjust his poison correctly. He deems that this is enough of a punishment for his siblings, but Gobmi is angry. She puts another one of the boys in a headlock, making Gobru try and stop her. By day 3, the group is attacking more intelligent prey. Gobmi is able to blind it in the eye. Gobkichi runs in to bash it with a mallet, but the creature's wild swing makes him have to cover his vitals with his shield. Gobmi is able to throw another rock at its hand, rendering it broken. Gobkichi follows the assault up with a mallet aimed at its knee. Gobru lands the killing blow on the orc and deskins it. This display of brutality is enough to make the two children cry and even throw up, as this is the first life of an intelligent creature they've taken. He gains a libido, orc language, and detect skill. He deems that his party has eaten enough and decides to take back all the meat they've saved up to their siblings. He tells them to eat, and they are all hesitant to eat. He reassures them it's okay and they all eat. In his past world, he would have never helped the weak. Under the red moon, his level increases, with the special conditions being cleared. Evolving into a hobgoblin, Gobru isn't fully conscious and just says yes to all the system's questions, so he can get back to sleep. On day 14, he awakens naked as a hobgoblin, looking more like his old self. With the same change occurring for Gobkichi, his first loyal subordinate, Gobmi can only happy congratulate them on their growth. The change catches the attention of everyone, including the hating old geezer. As his life's work has been surpassed in less than a month, Gobkichi wants to test how much stronger he is with this new body, challenging Gobru to a fight, making the older boy smirk. Outside, the two fight hand-to-hand. Gobru is quicker, able to punch Gobkichi multiple times in the face, while the bigger boy has a stronger individual punch. Gobru swipes his feet, sending Gobkichi on his back. The two finish, as both have mutual respect. A howling wolf can be heard, making Gobru's instincts on high alert. He tells Gobmi to gather the crossbow they made last night. In the distance, horned rabbits run from direwolves. Even the more intelligent orcs run from the horde of wolves. The team watches as the wolves easily devours its prey. He deems the pack of wolves to be the perfect test for their new evolved form. Gobru gives every one of Gobiami's arrows poison, while he and Gobkichi can hold their own in combat. The black wolves are lost without their leader, being the case in most fights. From eating the leader of the black wolves, he gains the skill Wild Hunt, Hide Armor, and Order. Gobru is confused as he's gained military leadership from his prey. He goes back to their home to pass out dark wolf meat to the goblins, but says the meat is not free as he expects them to bring back the same amount of prey. They beg for him to teach them how to hunt. He agrees to teach them how to hunt and build weapons, looking at them as comrades. On day 17, the human women that were captured all took a poison so they could pass away without any more suffering. Gobru holds a private service with Gobji. The old man holds no significance for their lives but calls it a waste, while Gobru tries to remember their lives, as one of them might have birthed him. A young goblin female named Gob runs in the forest as a part of her training. As she's the slowest in her ground, he trains the goblins like soldiers in his generation. Over the days, he's eaten a large amount of new promising prey, all of which have impressive skills. Soon, Gobru and Gokichi hear loud armor rustling nearby. Looking, he sees them, his elder siblings that have advanced into hobgoblins. Gobru pulls out his swords and the old man gets in front to stop them. He tells the child that those goblins are their raiders. He questions what that means and he's told they're the fathers of his generation, which shocks him. Gobji greets the leader of the raid party like old friends, where he compliments him on their impressive haul. The group brings back a large number of produce and to Gobru's shock 5 tied up and gagged human females. Male goblins surround them, as Gobji mentions how their last batch of humans died, so these women will do nice to replace them. as well as mentioning for the audience how goblin DNA results in the offspring being a goblin no matter the species they breed with. Gobru walks up to one of the older goblins to ask if he can look after the humans. The goblin man becomes enraged and grabs the punk. This sparks many of the raiders to bring out their swords to attack. An older, more intelligent goblin tells them all to settle down as there's no need to start a civil war. The two who enter the clearing are named Hobzato and the mage Hobse, being the boy who spoke. Hobzato, not caring about their argument, deems that the conflict should be resolved with the two parties' leaders fighting to decide what their people do, with weapons not being allowed, of course. The older man agrees as the young boy needs to be taught some respect. Gobru agrees. The match ended too fast to be considered an actual battle. Gobji is shocked as he never expected the lad to be so powerful. The spider string he made to capture the man comes from his body because he ate a demon spider. Hobzato and Hobse are impressed that a goblin this strong was able to be raised while they left the village. This makes Gobru the official leader of the tribe. Much to the anger of the once fathers of this generation, but they all recognize they're weaker than him. Gobru takes control of all the resources, including the human woman. He tells the humans that they'll be safe as he's instructed the rest of the goblins not to touch them. He also agrees to release the woman at some point to a human village. The red-haired girl is grateful and wishes to repay him. Gobru saved them out of kindness as he intended to gain their knowledge. The women were a part of a traveling business before they were captured by the goblins. The men were brutally killed, leaving them as the only survivor. The story brings back the nightmare for all of them as they begin to hug and cry. On day 28, the girls begin to warmly greet him, as they figure it's better to move forward with a positive attitude since they're safe now. The brown-haired woman is a airhead, but a good blacksmith. The blonde-haired sisters are cooks and tailors. The serious green-haired woman is a scientist who works with alchemy. Why the energetic redhead is a warrior. So he allows her to join their training. Moving forward, no matter the age, he trained them all like soldiers. Some of the older goblins complain and talk back but are soon reminded of who's in charge. He begins to put in place his household rules. Meanwhile, the former leader is fuming. On day 31, Gobru and Gobkichi train outside in the rain for all the goblins to see their strength. Gobru stays awake that night as the former leader and his men ambush the sleeping woman. Gobru captures him and kills some of his followers. The 5 women wake up hearing the commotion. As Gobru is finished, he meets the woman at eye level to apologize for their actions. The red-haired girl cries and leans on him for support. The noise wakes up all the goblins who came to investigate. Gobru tells Gobkichi to take these monsters outside. He tells him to then gather and wake up every member of their family to watch what he does. The men are tied up one by one and Gobru bashes their body with his bare hands, turning them into mush. The act scares many of the young ones, but all shocks the older generation who remain alive. When he's done, he turns to the rest of them, talking in an overly cheerful tone, asking if they all understand their village's rules. They all hurriedly nod their heads. The next day, his group takes down a Trihorn. He gains more abilities called Scaled Drive, Scaled Horsecry, and Quick Healing, Pierce Proficiency, Kick Proficiency, and Triple Thrust. His favorite is the Triple Thrust that allows for a single thrust to attack 3 times. That night, Gobru sleeps in his hammock and feels some rustling beside him. When he wakes up, he sees the red-haired girl. He assumes that the previous night brought back nightmares, so that night he slept by her. In the morning, he's uncomfortable as he finds Gobmi also in bed with him. The tribe is shocked to see Gob be the next goblin to evolve. Gobkichi was put in charge of their main force, while Gobmi trained their ranged unit. Hobzato is the best swordsman their army has, so she's in charge of their quick strike team. Gob evolved to become a hobgoblin because she would carry the group's supplies, so she leads the support team. Hobse is their only mage, so has no unit to direct, and also happens to be a girl. Gobru goes deeper into the forest since he can trust the captains to manage the village and his army. He summons a spear of demonic magic. The lance one shoots the Trihorn without any issue. He travels further north, soon noticing a large trail of blood. He remembers in a flashback where Gobji is teaching the children about the forest, and how under no circumstance should they travel north. As a legendary creature known as the Crimson Bear lives. The Crimson Bear soon reappears prepared to attack its next prey. He realizes that a more rational person would turn and run, but something is telling him to take this legendary creature down. His instincts urge him to defeat this prey and eat it. He prepares his demonic lance, charging to defeat the bear. Back home, Gobmi waits outside the cave for Gobru. Gob talks to the girl and realizes that she hasn't seen him all day. Gob goes around the hut to question the captains on if they've seen Gobru. But no one has heard from him as they've all been busy with their respective roles. The attack is not able to kill the Crimson Bear, but it does mortally wound it. The bear continues to swipe at him in a half-circle-like pattern to defend Gobru off him. Realizing that the Trihorn won't be enough to help him, his instinct forced him to run forward and rush the bear, making it bleed from its head. But it's not enough to defeat it, being swiped away. The bear, out of desperation, launches a flamethrower hotter than 2,000 degrees in his direction, burning a large amount of the forest. The bear crawls away, assuming it's won. Gobru manages to heal himself while the bear is distracted. The bear launches more fire at the hobgoblin. He incuses himself in water magic to shield himself, landing a killing blow through its mouth. But to his surprise, he's still swiped away. The attack leaves his right arm numb and he calls the exchange a draw. Gobru realizes he's at a huge disadvantage from his injuries, but is too hungry to care. His hunger pushes him to a limit as an almost predatory smile covers his face. By day 34, their battle has concluded with him barely the winner. With the last bit of his strength, he eats the bear claw. The victory exceeds his level and he passes out, evolving him to a rare ogre. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this. That's where we're going to leave off today on this video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this. So I'll see you in the next one.